They put into the forced labor, torture, working without pay, no healthcare access. So all this kind of stuff that we consider as the victim of human trafficking. But while the government do not consider them as a victim of human trafficking, we need to treat the people who fall into the trap as the victim, not the perpetrator. They need to be protected. They need to be supported. This trend is very, very dangerous.
Welcome to Mekong Matters, a podcast from the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. In this episode, we are speaking to the Executive Director of the Center for Alliance of Labor and Human Rights, Moeun Tola, about the consequences of the border tensions between Cambodia and Thailand, and what that means for the hundreds of thousands of Cambodian workers in Thailand attempting to return home, and how trafficking gangs are exploiting the situation.
Thank you, Trang. As you know that recently the two countries, Thailand and Cambodia, they start to have a border conflict. So the armed conflict just make the people for both countries worry, especially the people of Cambodia who are working in Thailand. There are over 2 million Cambodian people working in Thailand, both documented and undocumented. There was a call from the government encouraging the people to turn back because they concerned about the racism, they concerned about the violence would happen, the call from the family, the call from the friends. So this is the main reason that thousands of people return home.
So that bondage is often one of the reasons that people in Cambodia are forced into illegal labor. What employment prospect do these people who have returned from Thailand have in Cambodia?
Well, if you look at the Cambodian landscape as a whole, more than 50%, I would say 51% of the Cambodian adult population are in debt to the microfinance, to the bank, including to the moneylender, informal moneylender. So this is the burden for the people to look for the job. And if you look at that, the report so far from ILO, from World Bank and CDC, around 9.9 million people got job, but this is not healthy enough because 53% of the employed people are working with the poor job or vulnerable job. Another challenge is 15%, around 15% of the employed people living under the poverty line. Looking at another burden is about the debt. So this is the burden, this is the pushing factor for the people to look for the opportunity, either the work inside the country. Normally they find a job in the town like Phnom Penh or Siem Reap or the other sector, but not enough. We record that over 2 million Cambodian people working in Thailand. So this is the reason why there are quite a lot of Cambodian migrant workers seeking job opportunity in the other destination country. Looking at the profile of the migrant workers, majority of them, they just pick up the labor work, not a kind of brain work. So these people are the most vulnerable of exploitation, of the abuse, and so on and so forth. Some people even cannot read or write their name. Some people, they migrate with the whole family. So the children not access to the school, I mean the Cambodian language. Some people leave the children behind in their hometown. Some people, they bring their children along, but again, if they bring their children along, they just leave their children at the rental room, not at the workplace, and people cannot, children cannot access to school, to the Cambodian language education. So this is the main challenge. Yeah.
So it seems to me that there's a combination of the lack of employment opportunity, but also the lack of good jobs with good pay, like standard pay. Yeah, the job quality is making people vulnerable to trafficking, and force them into labor, force them into working in forced labor and other type of exploitation. Can you give us some specific example to make it clear, easier for people to imagine how it's like?
When the people facing like the debt bondage, again, it's not small amount, it's not small percentage. 51% of the adult population are in debt, so they never finish. They just work to pay back the loan. For us, what we can see is people live from paycheck to paycheck. So they earn and then they pay to the microfinance. They don't have any saving. So this is very high risk for the people to fall into trap of human trafficking. When we are talking about human trafficking, normally people just look at the sex trafficking, taking the part of the body, consider as a trafficking. But people may not touch on the labor trafficking. The labor exploitation is much more complicated. For me, I make it simple. When we are talking about trafficking, I I classify into two. One is the legal trafficking, and another one is illegal trafficking. If a person or individual being trapped and then put her into the sexual exploitation, sexual trafficking, it's easy for the people to see that's completely unlawful. But for the labor exploitation or labor trafficking, people see this is not a problem at all because it's legal. The recruiter, the recruitment agency, they got license from the state actor, so they have legal status to operate. But if you look at the the way that they treat people, comparing to the definition of the law on human trafficking, when you recruited people, you place people, and you put people into the forced labor, working with the debt bondage, passport withholding, it's considered as a trafficking. So labor trafficking is much more complicated for the people to understand, but more people, I would say, bigger number of people are being victimized by the labor trafficking.
So, what risks do Cambodian people face if they continue and look for work in other country in the Mekong regions? Are there any other? Can you explain to people what risks there are that people having to face?
We have to acknowledge that we cannot stop people from migrating. But the migration should be by choice. For example, like American people also come here to work, go to Vietnam to work. People from UK, people from Australia, people from Europe, they also come to the ASEAN country for work. But it's by their own choice. It's not by force. For the Cambodian people, I think not only Cambodian people, but also the other country in the region, we should create the opportunity for the most vulnerable group to get the job opportunity, to get the occupation opportunity inside the country. For Cambodia, I think it is very important that the government should renovate the agriculture system. The agriculture infrastructure, provide land. Let's say they should provide social land concession to the people. The government should also provide initial capital to support them. Even people working in Thailand for many years, people cannot make any saving. When they come back with empty pocket. For example, like during the mass returning, because they concerned about the safety and security. Some people even make the phone call to their parents in the country to send the money to Thailand in order for them to travel back to Cambodia. So the government should provide initial capital to them. Technical support are needed, including the market. So in order to create the market for the people, the farmer, the government should think about the processing industry. Let's say if you provide land to the people to grow sugarcane, for example, the farmer should be the one who supply the raw material to the processing factory. And then in case the factory change the production from sugar to mango juice, for example, or any other processing products, So people still own the land, and then people just change the crop only because laborer is not stable. There is no law in the world that prohibit the employer to terminate the employee or terminate workers. It's just only the requirement to follow the procedure. So this all item we found out when we interview the migrant family why the people have to migrate. They said because of the loan, because of why they fall into the debt, because they cannot make any income from the farming because there is no market. They spend a lot and they have to borrow the money from the microfinance, and then without successful in the farming, in the agriculture, people fall into the big serious debt, so they decide to migrate. So this is that should be the solution for the long term.
Thank you. So I think that what you were saying is that people who are low skilled worker are facing a lot more risk than those in the higher quality skilled worker. But I was also wondering, like say for example in Vietnam, we also have the issues of illegal trafficking and illegal migration, the people force, like what you said earlier, the people living in the countryside, they don't have much work opportunity, or they work with very low paid and low welfare, and so they can be tricked, or that they would just hoping that if they go to another country, they would have a better future. Is there anything can be done in terms of like raising awareness? Say in Vietnam, for example, the government are trying very hard to do some awareness raising for people so that they know this kind of migrants, it's illegal. Raise awareness so they won't be tricked, and that they understand what actually facing them, what risk they are facing if they are going to that route. I was wondering, that anything similar like that happening in Cambodia, or do you think it would help with the situation in Cambodia if things like that can be in place?
I think there should be both awareness raising. That's what Central is doing. Also, when we are coming to the migration program, we do both prevention and intervention program. So prevention, that's why we train the community-based youth volunteer as the TOT, and then that youth just go to village by village and explain to people, because we cannot compete with the broker in manipulating the information in the community, because they have a lot of money to rent the TV channel, to rent the radio station, broadcasting their propaganda. The only way is to retrain the youth, and then the youth train villagers, and the youth become the messenger to the people, refer the case in case that they got request from the migrant family, and so on and so forth. So awareness is important, but the challenge in terms of awareness or telling the fact is also another consideration, because we would be criminalized by the broker or by any powerful actor of defaming them. Even we are talking the truth, but sometimes we would be victimized by the broker or by the powerful people to criminalize us. Another action that we need to do is about the law enforcement. I mean, if the broker still remain at large, so they continue exploiting people, trafficking people. For those who get license and exploit people, they normally got free, got penalty holiday. So they don't get persecution, but they get protection.
You have been listening to Mekong Matters, a monthly podcast from the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. Thank you for listening.